Hello and welcome to the AV Wannabe, a podcast where I introduce my sister to movies she's never seen before. Although I guess at this point it might as well be Steven Spielberg movies you've never seen before.
Welcome to the Steven Spielberg, not Spielberg podcast.
I'll be your host, Brad, and this is my fellow archaeologist, Aubrie.
Welcome to the club. Or if you didn't like that one, welcome to the club.
So today we are talking about Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Aubrie, have you ever seen this film before?
I've not.
What did you think of this?
Well,
Oh.
I mean, I liked it, question mark?
Question mark, all right.
Like, it's such a popular movie. I feel like it's such a well-known, beloved film. And I can kind of see that, but I don't know. There's a lot where I'm like, it would not be in my top 10.
So let me ask you this. Are you on the fence because it's kind of such a big, blown out movie that you expected amazing things from this?
Yeah, maybe. I think my expectations were really high.
So you had high expectations
Yeah.
going in there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of not living up to what everyone said it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was the original movie why I wanted to start this podcast. So,
Right.
I mean, after we watched Star Wars, I was like, oh, we should have been recording these things. I feel like they were funny. I want to get your opinion on the next greatest thing Lucas ever did was Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're just kind of like,
Yeah. I'm on the fence.
I forgot that Raiders of the Lost Ark was the first one. I thought it was like Temple of Doom or something like that.
Right.
That's the one I remember seeing a lot as a kid. So after watching this again, because I hadn't seen it for like 20 years, I'm reminded of a lot of stuff I forgot. It's different from how I remember. The biggest thing I remember from this film was like, the snake pit and honestly the guy getting propellered.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So like there's things that I just forgot. But
yeah.
that being said, I still enjoy the film.
Good. No,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to watching the rest of them because
Right.
I'm curious to see like how they went. Like, did they get worse? Did they get better?
Right.
But as far as this one, if you're looking for like a fulfilling and satisfying and like heart-jerking story, go ride the ride at Disneyland instead. It's gonna be so much more like satisfying at the end.
It's so much more of an adventure.
You feel so much better when you get off. You're like happy, but you're like, woo, that boulder really almost got us.
There are ups and downs.
Twists and turns. Snakes for all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great ride.
It's like the first 10 minutes of the movie, they really captured that ride. Felt like I was back on it again.
Yeah, I mean, the first 10 minutes, you start in the film, right?
Yeah.
It's everything you expected from this Indiana Jones film,
Yeah.
I imagine.
No, they did great. Like it was the like honestly the only like thrilling parts, the good parts, is the first 10 minutes.
Where he's getting betrayed by every single person.
Everybody's like ditching him one at a time. One dude leaves the donkey, and they're all just slowly falling off of the caravan up there.
One guy tries to shoot him with a 6-shooter.
Yeah, and then the other guy takes his whip and betrays him. He dies.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
The guy that he was kind of working with, it sounded like working with before they even got there, he died when they got there.
Yeah.
Like they found his corpse there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, the first 10 minutes.
First 10 minutes are great.
I love the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's very like, ooh, mysterious and like this is the adventure that I'm seeking. Like I think that's like the rest of the movie, I'm like bored after the first 10 minutes.
I expected more of this.
Yeah, like I expected to be like in the tomb and like going through all these booby traps and like all this crazy stuff.
Puzzles.
But the puzzles, the mind games, like the close calls. But after the first 10, there's no more. It's like, I don't want to say it's predictable, but it's not as exciting. And so I'm just, there's a lot where I spaced out because I just didn't care enough. There was nothing to like keep my attention, and I just spaced out. And so I'd come back in and be like, ah, crap. How'd they get here?
You're just looking at a computer screen.
I'm like watching. I'll like see something in the background and be like, oh, that looks nice. That's quite good. Or like, oh, that definitely is fabric fashion to look like rock. Oh, how'd we get here? I've missed something.
It's definitely fabric fashion to look like rock. At no point was I thinking that. The way you and I must have watched this movie is like two different people, man. Like,
well, also, like, you have fond memories.
I do have
as
a lot
kid
of
watching
like
the movie.
other things attached to this movie.
Right. So you're like, oh yeah, this part and then this part. And I'm just like, when we gonna get good again? Bring back the booby traps.
They could leave the traps and keep the rest.
Yeah.
Bring back the boobies.
Oh. I didn't follow. Yeah. I liked it. But like I said, I spaced out a lot. I wasn't like, I don't know what you classify this movie as. Is it like action, love,
adventure,
adventure,
mystery,
other A words? Like what are we?
I think it's an adventure movie.
Okay.
I mean, just going out on a limb there.
I think that's a good guess.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that.
This movie is still good.
Yeah.
In my sense. But it's showing age.
Definitely, yeah.
As it goes.
Which it could be worse. I think they used a lot of like practical effects that are still great. It's like visually it still looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
But and honestly, like the actors did a great job.
Right.
I've believed every single one of them and they like stayed true to their characters the whole time. Loved it.
Right.
But I don't know, there's just like something lacking here to where I'm like, Was
there too many like whimsical moments, like when they drive into the bazaar and everyone covers up the car and stuff?
Maybe that's it, because there's like too many things like
slapstick comedy.
Right, like what you just said, which I loved that moment. I thought it was like hilarious, but at the same time I'm like, how did they know who he was? And how did they know he was coming?
Right.
And how did the girl and his friend beat him back to Cairo? That's where they were, right? Cairo?
Yeah, something like that.
How'd they beat him there? And then there's all this like unbelievable stuff. Truly unbelievable. I can believe you dropping into a pit of snakes from what was that, like 50, 100 feet?
It was pretty high up.
All right, whatever. But I can't believe that you like shimmied under the truck and then got drugged by it while holding on to your whip. His road rash would have been outrageous instantly because of those rocks. So I'm like, come on. Like, that's they like went too far in some spots to where I'm like, no, you've lost me.
That stunt, 100% real.
Really?
That's one of the few stunts I know about that is
he shimmied under that truck?
It wasn't Harrison Ford. It was
done, stuntman.
Dude, the stuntman, I know that they had to lift the truck a little bit more so that way he could actually get underneath it. And I think they were going like 10 miles an hour or 15 miles an hour. They could only go so fast. Otherwise, he would have gotten just shredded. And he had to wear leathers. Yeah,
I would imagine you'd have to wear a ton of leather layers on top of layers.
Well, yeah, I think he wore leathers underneath the suit, but he also is wearing the leather jacket as well, which is taking a lot of the brunt force. And I think he had some, when he rolls over to his belly, he had like some sort of skid plating on his belly.
Yeah.
It is a real stunt.
No, I mean, I don't doubt that it's a real stunt, and it's really well done, but nobody would do that.
No, but that's
because you have to have all the protective gear. Otherwise, no. Which, I mean, I know is the whole like reason for any cinema and any special effect is that it's not real. But I don't know. It took me out. Like, it was too
grand.
It was too grand. And
What-
lacking in other parts.
You might not enjoy the other ones because
I don't know, though, because, like, I do love, but I don't know. Okay. I love a grand stunt. I love over the top. I love crazy unbelievable. Like, that's why people like Star Wars.
yeah,
But they have to keep me in it.
right.
Like, something took me out where I was like, no. So it's like, I need to be more, like, submerged into it. Something didn't keep my attention.
You see, I would watching it now as an adult and stuff. There are certain scenes that I'm just like, well, why'd they even bother? Like,
Right.
so when the kids come and save him from the room full of
Yeah.
bad guys, no, these are horrible people. They're just gonna shoot. They don't care.
They don't care that there's kids there.
Like the monkey, while it has that funny Heil Hitler scene,
I like the monkey.
it's like it was kind of dumb.
Well, yeah, the monkey didn't really serve a purpose.
It doesn't. It's like, and then they
Because how is that man communicating with his monkey?
right. Also, that man nowhere to be seen after
Yeah,
that
where'd he
scene.
go? Was he like mourning the loss of his dear monkey?
Was it worth it?
Yeah, he's the one that killed him.
Right. But I mean, yeah, there's just like,
You know what I think it is? I think the scenes were too long.
okay.
Like the scene with the airplane when they're like fighting around the airplane and the guy gets propellered.
Oh, that scene.
It's too long.
Is it? I thought it was great. Oh,
Because
well, yeah,
he like tries to sneak up on the pilot and then this other guy catches him. And then he's fighting with this other guy. And then he gets rid of the other guy. And then he goes back up to the pilot. And then another guy appears that's like, let's fight. And he like takes his shirt off and is like ready, which I don't know why. So, I mean, he's just looking for a fight. He's just excited. And then it's like, and then the girl comes and then the girl jumps in and it's like so long to where like I tuned out because I got bored because it was so long and it was the same thing over and over again. And then I kind of pieced it together, but there was like gasoline everywhere and then everything caught on fire. Cool special effect. I love a fire scene. But I was like, eh.
Well, I think a bunch of this is just showing like how Spielberg grew as a director as he moved on, because this is like one of his first films.
Okay, so I was gonna ask where this is in a timeline of like Jurassic Park.
Before Jurassic Park.
Okay, what about Star Wars?
This is 1981, I think it is. Yeah, 1981.
When does Star Wars come out?
I think Star Wars just came out not long before this.
Okay.
Because
I'm also like trying to base like Harrison Ford in here somewhere.
yeah, because Harrison Ford's first role ever was Han Solo.
Oh, okay.
He was supposed to be a prop maker, I think. He was a carpenter, and they were just like, that guy, come over here and read these lines.
Nice.
And they casted him as Han Solo.
Nice.
But like, because I think if Spielberg could I don't want him to redo the whole movie because I enjoyed a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Like I still like that scene you're talking about with the airplane, but I do think that he would make it a little bit different because they kept on having to like do hard cuts back to show how far the gasoline's moving.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like having to do all this coordination and stuff was a little bit beyond them back then. If they had to redo it now, they would have like a way where they could shoot it all in one go. He doesn't fight very long with the first guy.
Yeah.
And then if the other guy came in pretty quick, because they kept on having to do like these hard cuts,
Yeah.
jumping left and right. And then they're like, Indiana Jones is on the left side of the screen. Next thing you know, he's bam, right on the right side of the screen. And they're just jumping around. I think it's because the camera equipment was too heavy back then. They couldn't move it around like they can nowadays.
Yeah.
And I think they were just limited by the technology back then to where they're just like, we got to do hard cuts. Oh, we can't do a whole shot with the gasoline coming in and make it make sense to where everyone can kind of see this timer. We got to make a shot where we just show like water moving towards a fire. You know what I mean? And I just think that they were just kind of limited and they didn't have too much money back then to work on this film.
Yeah.
But that's where it shows its age, I think.
Yeah.
Like, still a good shot, but it's just succumbing to the just abilities back then. Like they did a good job with what they had, but with nowadays, you're able to make like Children of Men when they have that continuous shot, and it's crazy.
I don't know what that is.
It's this director. I forget who it might have been Neil Blomkamp. Anyway, there's this like continuous shot where it goes on for like 20 minutes, and it's a crazy shot. Like there's like not live ammunition, but like explosions and stuff, and people have to wait up in a building for like 20 minutes till they get their part, and they're like shooting guns and stuff left and right. Or that new war film where they had a crazy long shot as well. But it's just when cameras are more easy to maneuver nowadays and stuff.
Yeah.
And you have more money, you can practice more and get more time in.
You're right.
But anyway, it doesn't negate your point at all.
Right, because it's like going back to the first 10 minutes, that took a lot. And it was great.
Yeah.
And so when I like go to this airplane scene, I'm like,
yeah.
It's not as impressive to me.
Right.
Like you were saying how there's just like too many weird things. There's like the fight in the bazaar, which is, actually after I said that, I kind of like it now that I'm thinking about it again.
When they're like running around left and right and he's throwing the girl. Literally throwing her.
Yeah. And then there's like the basket scene. Everybody's like got the same basket.
Very funny scene. He's like throwing over their laundry.
Yeah, it's very funny. Now that, okay, I take it back. I like
and
that
they're
part.
All angry at him, like, what are you doing?
Laundry. Yeah, I'd be pissed too.
I know.
Yeah. I think the plane and the car chase are the ones that I had the biggest problem with.
The car chase was rough because they did stupid cuts.
Yeah.
Like when he hits the guy with the turret on the top, and then next thing you know, they're falling off this ginormous cliff. And you're like, where'd that come from?
I thought they were in like a big flat desert.
Yeah, they showed flat land literally in the shot before it. It's flat.
Right.
And
it was confusing.
And all of a sudden they're on a cliffside?
And they're on a cliffside, and now I thought the convertible car, I don't know what that is, the car with like all the officers and stuff in it.
A Model A with the top down.
Whatever that was. I thought it was behind the truck, and it was actually in front of the truck, and there's another car behind the truck, and that disappears, and then they're ramming the other car. And I'm just like, I can't follow it.
Yeah.
I can't follow it. I don't where'd the horse go? Like there's so much that happened that I was like, it didn't align right. It didn't make sense. I could pay attention, but I couldn't keep my interest in it because it was too much. To where I was like, you've lost me. It's also a very long scene and leading into that really cool stunt, but it was too much lead up, too much build up.
Yeah, I'd say it was 3 minutes too long.
Yeah, it was like, I can appreciate the car chase. It's important. They're going to get this arc. I don't know. It was too long.
Right.
And it lost its value because of how long it was. And the suspense like ran out.
They didn't get to the point quick enough. And it just sounded like they were drawing out their words. Yeah.
They're like, we need filler time. Don't we have more shots of the car chase?
Right.
Put that in. Yeah. I didn't like that scene either. Right. Just another one of those things. I'm like, it was too long and it lost me.
Right.
I wish there was more looking for the arc.
Because they just found it immediately.
Instantly.
Yeah. He didn't struggle at all.
Yeah. He like instantly got into the map room, instantly found out where it was. They were over there. They had a crew. Boom. It's open. They drop in. Like, it was so fast. There was no like, oh, now we have to go through this like labyrinth inside to find it. It was just right there. And then like I can get along with like, okay, it's right there. That's where it said it would be. They found it. Great. They hoisted up. Now I wish they would have spent more time getting out because they also got out so quickly.
Right.
Like, I wish it was they broke that wall down and now they have to figure out their way out. There's more booby traps. Like,
there's more tunnel.
Yeah, like that's the kitsch of like Indiana Jones is like, oh, he gets through those booby traps. Like, it's booby traps. The whole thing is booby traps. So like, there's none of that. They're like, they get through this wall and then they're like, oh, all right, we're out. Like, what? It left me wanting more. Like, I was wanting so much more from that of like him and the girl going on some perilous like crazy journey together, because you don't get to see them together that much. So I was hoping that this would be their moment
of having to navigate like a sunken pyramid kind of thing.
Right. And showing how they work together, because they're alluding to them being this like great team the whole time.
Yeah.
There's past that we don't know about, but they're like, there's a love interest between them. And I was hoping that was going to like highlight it. It was going to show how great they work together and how they need both of them to get through. It's like a balance, and then it could like go deeper into their love story or not. But you know, I wanted more of that.
Yeah. Teamwork. And like problem solving.
Right. Because that's what they're leading me to believe that these two are so great at, especially going back again to the beginning when he's such a great problem solver.
Yeah.
And then I don't really see that the rest of the movie.
Yeah. You know, you saying that, it kind of makes me wish that when he does use the staff, that like to find out where it is located.
Right.
That there was more of a puzzle. I mean, they kind of show it when there's like all those holes.
Yeah, and they put it in the wrong hole, and he's like having to dust off all the sand. But...
Well, they also had the wrong size stick.
Yeah, it was too long, too short. I don't know.
Theirs was the Nazis was too long. Indiana Jones had to take back, like I forget how much they said, to account for as an offering to something.
Yeah,
but like if there was another puzzle in that room that he could have solved. Or a puzzle inside the snake room where it's like, oh, hey, all these places, they have to have a second chamber.
Yeah.
As an escape just in case.
Right. Like, oh, we have to find like this lever, or we have to put this something in this thing, not just like breaking a wall down, because there had to be a way in and a way out because somebody went in.
Well, yeah.
So.
Like there should have been a door somewhere.
Yeah.
That they could have accessed. Because also like the fact that Anubis pylon, whatever it was, he could just kick it over.
Yeah, something that big.
Yeah.
To be that light.
Which, after moving some rocks just around this area,
yeah,
a little rock is heavy as sin, man. It will break your freaking back.
Right.
There's no way that you could just push concrete pylon that big, that easily.
Yeah. Yeah, it was...
It would have been much more entertaining because, I mean, those Anubis statues, they looked really fake anyway.
They did. They didn't look great.
But if he just, like, used some wit. And,
yeah.
Because they showed that they understood how to make a fun puzzle in the beginning of the film. And then we don't get those fun puzzles for the rest of the film.
Right. And, like, I feel like those puzzles would have been a great way to keep the audience, me, which I'm not the whole audience, but it would have kept me more engaged.
Yeah, and that it would have allowed them to have that like filler time that they're wanting for.
The whole time I was thinking of like National Treasure.
Yeah, well, I'd say National Treasure took from that.
I agree with that, but I think like that's what I wanted was more stuff like that, more like, oh, clues and this does this and we got to go here and I have all this knowledge, so now I know how to solve this because nobody else has the knowledge that I have. I wanted that kind of thing.
Yeah, and they did really well at that National Treasure.
They did. I mean, they had like the blueprint for it.
And they like pull off that stem.
Yeah.
And
it was easy for National Treasure to do it. Indiana Jones was like, you know, laying the groundwork for it. Yeah. But I don't know. There was so much that I wanted that I never got.
Yeah. Did you notice in that snake pit all those lizards that you're
the
lizard snake
the legless lizards.
Yeah, did you notice them?
I did. Yeah, they were quite cute, I thought.
I was surprised that they were in there with snakes.
Yeah, were they real snakes? Like the cobra and like the I don't know.
Well, I mean the
snakes?
cobra is real.
I know a cobra is real, but like was that cobra real?
I think so. I think they might have defanged him though.
Aww.
Well, I think they might have just got him because I think that there's a cobra people that have cobras in like in that part of the world.
Okay.
That defang cobras and keep them as pets.
Interesting.
Because I was watching like I don't know back when Vine was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a little toddler playing with a cobra, And the cobra kept on striking him, but there was no
teeth.
fangs.
He's just
Yeah.
gumming him.
Yeah, just gumming him. So it might have been something like that. But like the ball pythons, they'll strike you, but it's not poisonous, and their fangs aren't too big, but it'll hurt. But like,
I'm not a big snake expert.
Neither am I.
But I did see those legless lizards. I just learned about those this morning.
Yeah.
Coincidentally through one of my classes.
I couldn't wait to throw down that knowledge
no.
on you. And so when you told me, I was like, "Ah! No! Why did this have to happen? I knew I figured this one out." Oh, spoiled it for me.
Yeah, that's rough. Literally this morning in class we talked about them, and I was like, Bradley, did you know that
I wanted to watch this movie like at least a week ago.
There's a lizard with no legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
most of those
funny.
snakes were those lizards because they don't bite or anything like that.
Yeah, it's a lizard.
Yeah, it's a lizard.
It's less terrifying too. Just be like,
it would be so less terrifying.
Yeah,
for me,
absolutely. If I saw one, you're like, oh, that's just a legless lizard. I'd be like, oh.
The second somebody would tell me that, like, I'm scared to death of snakes.
Same.
The second somebody was like, oh, these are a bunch of legless lizards, I'd be like, oh, I'll jump in that pit.
Yeah, it's just a lizard.
It's a lizard. What are they going to do to me?
Lick
it's not much difference.
It's not. It's really not. Especially for like a non-poisonous, like a gopher snake.
Yeah, like instantly changes my perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
You could be like, oh, that's a pit full of king snakes. And I'll be like, no.
I ain't going in there.
I ain't going anywhere near that.
Yeah.
Oh, those are a bunch of lizards. All right, I'm not a big lizard fan, but all right, let's do this.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Same.
Especially seeing around here when lizards just run away from you the second you get, you're like, all right.
Well, we have one
who's not afraid of us.
I hate that guy. He's huge. He also has lost his tail, but is in the process of regrowing it.
Yeah.
Like a little nub. I
Lives
hate
right
that
on
lizard.
our step.
I'll almost step right on him, and my foot will land right next to him, and it'll just like look at me.
Dude, I will stomp purposely right next to him, and he doesn't care.
I hate that guy.
He just is like, was that necessary?
Yeah.
And he continues looking out into the field, like.
Yeah. He's like, stop trying to ruin my morning.
I know. It's like I'm inconveniencing him. I'm like, dude, get off our stoop.
I know.
You don't live here. But he does.
He does. He does. Anyway, the movie. Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. So, what did you notice, Aubrey?
They're having this very intense moment. And there's this fly.
What's happening in this moment? Indiana Jones is like on a ledge, right? Holding a rocket launcher at them.
I don't remember what happened.
So, if I remember correctly, Indy was holding a rocket launcher at Bellic and all the Nazi guys with the Ark. And he's like, I'm going to blow up the Ark. I'll do it. And then Bellic was like, you won't do it. You can't do it or whatnot. There's this real close-up shot.
Yeah, and this moment is so intense. It's such a like high suspense moment. It's very serious, and it gets real close to his face, a big close-up.
His face fills the whole frame.
And a fly goes and flies near his mouth and then perfectly just goes in his mouth. It enters the cave. It goes in his mouth and never comes out. and he didn't even flinch.
Didn't even bat an eye.
This guy just let a fly go in his mouth.
He was like the opening scene from Aladdin and Jafar throws a guy into the Cave of Wonders. He's the lion. He closed his mouth and went away.
He just let it happen. And nobody was like, you want to retake that?
What's surprising is they probably did multiple takes of that. And they went with that one.
They went with the fly going in. Could you imagine seeing this in theaters? It's like up on the big screen, and you're like this tipping point of the movie, and this fly goes in his mouth.
I never noticed this until this viewing.
Are you serious?
And I only knew to look out for this because when I was researching this movie ahead of time, it talked about this fly going in his mouth. So every time he was talking, I was looking for a fly. And so when you noticed it right from the beginning and you're going, ah, 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 I was like, how did she notice? You are paying attention to the weirdest things in this movie.
If you want me to pay attention, you better start sending flies into people's mouths. 'Cause
No, apparently you don't do that because she can't remember this other parts of the scene.
it was so funny. It was so funny. Like,
Easily Aubree's favorite part of the movie.
I could not stress how funny it is. He's just straight faced, and this fly goes in and never comes out. He like didn't close his mouth or anything either. It's like open, and this fly just like has landed.
Would you have liked to see like him close his mouth and the
and
next
chew?
word and the next word he says it comes running back out?
Yeah, I would have. Oh, too bad it wasn't like a caterpillar and then a butterfly came out. Oh my gosh. That was just so funny. Favorite part. Hands down. No notes. Leave it.
That's why they sent it to print, Aubrey.
Somebody was like, brilliant.
They watched that in the editing room and they're like, yeah, this one speaks to me.
This one's it, guys.
Yeah, well, let's run this one. And the actor's like, no, don't do that.
That's what the fly went in my mouth. Bravo to that actor for not being like, huff, huff.
Stone-faced it.
When a fly gets near my face, I'm like, get out of here.
Now I'm imagining you being that guy working for the Nazis, and you're like dead-faced. Like, I forget what he was saying in the moment, but he's like, imagine Aubrey going, do it, Indy. Blow up the... Blah, 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 blah,
How can you not? And then you're like,
blow up the ark.
I think it went down my throat. You guys got any water?
Somebody get me a fly trap.
Like gagging.
I can't breathe. Oh my God.
I gotta go. I gotta get out of here.
Somebody get some help.
Somebody get me out of this stupid desert.
Send help.
I really liked, I don't know any of these characters' names besides Indiana Jones. The woman is like, meh.
I think her name was May.
No.
Marion.
Marion? Marion.
I thought he kept on calling her Mary.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Marion.
Marion. Because I would have sworn he kept saying Mary.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Doesn't matter. Marion was alright. I did like her, actually. I liked her attitude. I
liked her attitude, too.
It was funny to see a lead woman drinking and smoking and being a badass in the beginning. And, you know, being aggressive. And I thought that was pretty cool.
I would say she, instead of a badass, I would say she was more like a manly kind of. Definitely, they were trying to push unwomanly on her when you first see her because she's doing that drinking competition.
Right.
Which went on a little bit too long for me.
Too long. You're like, I get it. You can drink more. And then they brought it back later when she was drinking with that other gentleman.
I thought that was a okay callback. Like,
I thought
this
that
is
was
how
a good
she's
callback.
gonna get out of here.
But it was like it was just too long of a drinking scene in the beginning. But anyway, I thought she was good. I really liked his friend in Cairo. The other, was he an archaeologist too?
He called him a digger.
Okay.
Dig, or like he digs with the he digs with the shovel. I am not saying the bad word.
I didn't even. I was wondering why you're trying to explain it.
He uses shovels and he digs. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so scared right now. Okay.
The digger.
His name was Salah, but I think he calls him Sal.
Okay. I really liked him. I think he's like my favorite character.
He was great.
He was funny, friendly, welcoming, believable. I liked him the whole time. I liked when he's like, they open up the, I don't know what that is, when they find the ark and they pop the top off and he's like, you should go first.
Well, he's like, why is the floor moving?
It was so funny. It was so good.
I loved his voice.
Yeah.
I loved him talking. Every time he talked, I was like, just keep talking, dude.
Yeah. I really liked it. He was great. He was a great character. He was my favorite. He provided like enough like comedic relief, but he was also serious. He knew what he was doing, professional. I really liked him. He was great.
He was
great
good.
addition. I did not like that weird kiss that Marion gave him when they're about to get on the boat.
Yeah.
I did not like that. That was so strange. He's married, I'm sure, because he has all those children. They don't say that he's married, but I'm pretty sure he's married. And it was weird. I didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable.
What were the 3 reasons? What was the first reason?
I think the first one, I don't know. I don't know if that was like his wife's name or something, because the next one was his kids.
I thought she said this one's for the fire.
Oh.
That's what I thought
Maybe.
she said. But I was hoping that you could be like, the fire.
I have no clue.
And then the second was for the kids, and then the last one was for him.
Yeah.
But that first one, I thought she said fire. I'm not sure.
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought it was weird. And
I liked his reaction afterwards.
His reaction was funny.
And then he kisses that guy. That's
Yeah.
it.
But I didn't like it. It was weird.
Mm.
And then I thought the captain of the ship,
The pirate.
the pirate. Oh, is he a pirate?
Yeah, they were pirates.
Oh, that makes so much more sense. Because I was like, he's shady.
Yeah, they were on a ship of pirates.
I didn't catch
taking
that.
them back.
I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like waiting.
One of those moments where you just tuned out.
Probably. I was waiting for him to like backstab him.
Right.
The whole time I'm waiting for him to like rat him out or something. But he was actually very,
Chill.
very kind and gave him his room, his cabin.
And then they all cheer when they see
they
him
all
on that.
cheer.
It was a
and-
submarine, wasn't it?
I think so, but it never submerged.
I don't. In my
'Cause he
mind,
didn't
I always
get
thought.
in.
I always thought submarines submerge whenever they're moving somewhere. I guess they do stay on the surface. I don't know. I'm not a submarine expert.
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Neither do I.
I thought that they went deeper, but I think they don't have to go deeper. I don't know. I don't know how submarines work.
I mean, I've seen like Navy commercials where they're like the submarine's on the top and everyone's standing on it as it moves. I don't know if they do better on like they're like, oh hey, we only go under when we're like in the moment because we only have so much air or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe that is. Maybe they only can have so much air and they only go under for like periods of time if they need to.
I don't know. The only experience with a submarine I have is in DuckTales and in SpongeBob because they're the buses, public transportation in Bikini Bottom.
Well, I didn't see the bus driver on the submarine. So.
That's the only knowledge I have of a submarine. So.
It's
Or a
like,
sandwich. I know a lot about submarine sandwiches. Yeah, I don't think it. He never got in, so I don't think it.
I think he just stayed on the surface.
I think so too.
I don't know. They didn't show that part that
They
well.
didn't. Also, it's like,
But I did like the pirate crew cheering.
I did. Yeah, I did. I did like the pirate crew.
Yeah.
They were strangely welcoming.
Yeah.
I feel like I should know more about the Ark of the Covenant because I did a very stressful group project on the
About
sanctuary in
The
high school.
Holy place and the most holy place.
And we had to make everything to scale. We even had to put the stuff in the Ark.
Did you know that the tablets were in there?
I know the tablets are in there, and I think there's a bowl of bread, sad bread. It's manna. And I think there's a stick in there, somebody's staff.
Maybe it was that staff that they were supposed to be using.
Maybe. I think that's it. I don't think there's oils, or maybe there is oils in there. Yeah, I think there might be oils in there. I don't know. It's been so long.
I didn't know any of that. I only knew the building that they kept on moving for the Ark of the Covenant,
Yeah.
where they had the different rooms and only certain people could go in there.
Right.
And if somebody went in there that wasn't supposed to and died, I knew that they had like a crook that they would
Yeah.
pull that body out with.
It's like when somebody's doing a bad comedy set and you like pull them off stage like Mr. Potato Head.
Pretty much, although they're dead. And so it's like, I don't know, like, you know, one of those curious kids that where you're like, hey, don't touch that stove. And they're like, and they go to do it. You're like, ah. And like when the guard was just taking a nap or dozed off, if that kid went in there and God was like,
Hey, man.
smited him down.
No.
And then they're like, oh, dang it. I told James not to do it, you know?
Man.
But I don't know much beyond
I don't
that.
know. I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say here because they went religious with it. Because I mean, there's different ideals of the Ark from different religions and different societies.
Well, like because isn't it also part of Muslim belief?
I think so.
Uh,
But
yeah.
so anyway, I wasn't sure where they were going with it. And I guess it makes sense how it ended because you had to be like a high priest to get to the Ark. And so I guess it makes sense that because none of them were a high priest, they all died.
The one guy tried to be.
Did not study hard enough.
Was not blessed.
Did not pray hard enough.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that ending. It was fun how the ghosts came out and everyone died.
I did like how it properly lidded itself.
I know. God was like, hey.
Let me just close this up for you, Indy.
Close that back up.
I also untied you guys. Don't worry.
You're welcome. Please take care of this. Please put it back.
No, they didn't though. They put it in a
In
warehouse
a box.
looking thing.
Which I think, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that the Ark isn't on the Earth anymore.
Where did it go, Aubrey?
Okay.
Did it go back in?
This is probably going to make me either sound real dumb or like prudish or something. I think it's in the Garden of Eden and it's been whisked away to the Promised Land, which I don't think is on Earth. However, I could be very wrong and my teacher of this class would be very disappointed.
Honestly, I'd never even thought of where the stupid thing was at.
Yeah.
I don't think I should call it a stupid thing.
Maybe
I don't know
not.
where God's covenant between man. I don't know. I never even thought about like after the whole project I did in high school.
Yeah.
I didn't care after that. I was like, thank God that's over.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just interesting. It's interesting that they went with that and that they didn't make up like their own artifact or like, you know, some other ancient thing. It's interesting that they went with the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but at the same time, that makes it more interesting.
It does. I think there's some connection that people can make with it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And it's like, it's so almost all of the Western Hemisphere knows about the 10 Commandments.
Right.
There's not a lot known about it. So it's kind of like making up their own thing.
Yeah.
And then they had fun with it from there.
Yeah.
Was a pretty arc.
It was very pretty.
I like the two angels touching
those
tips.
archangels. Yeah, I think that's how they're supposed to be. I don't know. Here I go again. I have no idea. Whatever. It was pretty. It was great. Was that the end? Oh, yeah. And then they put it in a box and put it in the storage
amongst
locker.
What we can only assume is a bunch of other
Arcs.
super mythical artifacts that call upon God's wrath.
I'm glad America has those.
Top men are working on that, Aubrey.
Because God bless.
America. Not them Nazis. We got it.
Yeah. It's interesting. The ending, how she's like all happy, but he's not. And it's like.
It is different. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, right?
The ending is just kind of.
It kind of fizzles out, doesn't it?
No, I mean, I want to say it's actually appropriate because it's like anything else, you know what I mean? It was just like the last one he was on at the beginning of the movie where it's just like, it ends. There's not much more you can do about it. And then it's like moving on with your life kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was interesting that they didn't end it with the girl in Indiana standing there with their burnt rope and everyone dead around them. I'm surprised they didn't end it there and let you wonder what else happened. I'm surprised that they like pan to like, oh, they're home now and it's in these two guys' hands, and now we see it going into a storage facility. I thought that was interesting that they carried it out that far and didn't just end to let you make up your own happy ending.
I kind of like that they went up to that point. So that way you're like, what's the storage room? Why wasn't it going to a museum like they agreed and stuff?
Yeah.
Creates questions.
Yeah.
Before we get into the facts, I want to share with you something that I read.
Okay.
And that is Mary and Indiana. They had a thing before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like they were married or definitely in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And she says 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you some dates here.
Okay.
This takes place in 1936.
Okay.
So 10 years ago.
26.
1926. She was born 1909.
Oh, boy.
She was 16 years old when they had.
She did say she was a child. She's angry at him. She's like, I was a kid in love.
She was 16. He was 26.
Oh, boy. In real life, the actors?
No, I don't know. I don't know
okay.
how old
Okay. I wasn't sure. But in the movie, theoretically.
Yeah.
Not good.
Could you imagine a 26-year-old?
I'd like to not.
Having a whole, I guess that could technically take place in, like, was it the East Coast of the United States? Like, I don't know. I want to say I read an article of, like, about a mom having relations with her son's friends or something like that, and they were 16, but she got in trouble because they were drinking and not because of the sex, because they're underage drinking.
Okay.
But they were of the age of consent, even though she was like 40, in her late 40s or something like that, right? So maybe it could happen in one of those states, because
well, and totally also it's 1926.
36.
Well,
26 back then.
Yeah,
probably very common back then.
Yeah, times have changed, thank goodness.
Yeah,
that's not good. Don't be doing that.
Don't be doing that.
Don't be doing that. 18 people, 18.
Very young and impressionable when that went down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it did leave an impression on her. The fact that she's somewhere in the mountains of, where was it?
I have no clue. I couldn't tell if it was snowing or if that was a sandstorm.
It was snow.
Oh, okay.
It was like in the Himalayas or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I did like her personality a lot when the guy busts out the dress.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want you to wear this. She's like, I bet you do.
That was funny.
Like stuffing her mouth, drinking.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to doll her up to objectify her.
Yeah.
And she's just like,
yeah, that was pretty good.
I like that.
It was a sane woman. Like,
right.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's good.
It was pretty funny. They kept on putting her in all these like super white dresses.
I know. White was her color the entire time. Except for when she was wearing those pants, which I like those pants.
I did like that outfit on her a lot. The red pants with the, like, was it the red and white blouse?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Nice.
It was fun.
It was fun. And like practical. You could run in that.
She had at least 5 more costume changes than Indiana did.
Yeah, he had like 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for her. But they were all white. You got any more fun facts for me?
All right, let's do some facts.
Okay.
Fact time. So, made in 1981. We already established that. Budget for this film, $20 million.
I wish I had $20 million.
Dude, I would love $20 million.
I would not make an Indiana Jones movie, though, if I had $20 million.
I would not be living in a trailer with the poorest insulation.
I'd be living in a motorhome.
I would be living in a double wide trailer.
Yeah, 20 million. That's not bad.
Not bad for back then. Made pretty much $390 million.
That's a lot.
At the box office. I'm sure it's made more.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a lot though.
Yeah, made back its money and then some.
Yeah,
it's good amount. You know that scene where he's fighting the swordsman and he eventually just shoots him?
Oh, in the bazaar.
Yeah, and he's like does all this like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
That wasn't actually supposed to happen that way. It was actually supposed to, Indiana Jones was actually supposed to take out his whip the swordsman and de-arm him from the sword. Like the whip was going to wrap around the sword or something. I don't know. He was supposed to use his whip in some sort of stunt, but Harrison Ford got sick from food poisoning.
Oh no.
And they tried to do this stunt a couple of times, but it just wasn't working out. And then Harrison Ford was like, "Can I just shoot the sucker?" And then they improvised it right there on the fly.
I liked that. I liked it because it was like they threw out all the like elaborate nonsense and were like, the practical thing to do would just be to shoot him.
Right. It's like one of the best moments because it's like, here's this guy who's got like all these amazing sword skills and he's wielding the scimitar and like he's like, ah. And then at the end of the day, the person with the gun is at a much better advantage. And it was over before it begun.
And it was funny.
It was good comedic timing.
He's like ready to throw down.
Yep.
And he just shoots him.
Done.
To get onto his main priority.
But that being said, like every single person on this shoot got food poisoning except for, or I shouldn't say food poisoning. They at least got sick except for one person. And that was Steven Spielberg.
So Steven Spielberg poisoned everybody?
No. Steven Spielberg did something else.
He's a vegetarian. Steven
Spielberg brought all his own food.
Smart. Did they shoot on location?
They went a couple places.
Okay.
They did some shooting in California and England and a couple of other places. I didn't recognize all the other names. I didn't see Egypt.
Right. That's what I was wondering if they went. Right.
But I'm sure they went overseas somewhere at one point.
Interesting that he brought all his own food.
Guess what he brought?
Ooh. Top ramen?
Would have been better. I thought.
Man. Dried miso soup.
He brought, in quotation marks, a lot of cans of SpaghettiOs.
Nice! Yes, Spielberg!
He's having SpaghettiOs. Well, everyone else is probably enjoying the local cuisine like, oh, dude, you have like some of this baklava or whatever.
Hey, man.
I don't know if they went to Greece or not. But
Chef Boyardee knows where it's at.
Hey, dude, he never got sick.
You can have them cold. You can have them warm.
Oh, that's a good point.
You can have them. You don't have to do any dishes if you do it right.
Just eat straight out of that can.
Just dump it in your mouth.
Oh no! You could drink it like a cup of something.
Yes.
Yeah. Or you just like tilt your head back, have the can at the ready.
Yeah, it's portable. You don't have to worry about it going bad. Well done, Spielberg.
Yeah.
Well done.
You know what? You're selling me on this can of SpaghettiOs.
Also, have you ever had SpaghettiOs? I sure have not had SpaghettiOs in 10 years, but I remember them being amazing.
I remember liking them a lot.
Yeah, but then again, I go back and eat things and I'm like, ooh, I really like this. And I'm like, ooh, not as good as I remembered.
Remember the scene where the museum guy goes over to Indiana Jones's house?
Yes.
And Indiana Jones is kind of dressed in his robe. It looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
In the original, before they cut it out, he was supposed to be entertaining.
Oh, no.
In quotations, a young woman.
Oh, dear. Was it the woman from class that said, love you on her eyelids?
It wasn't said in the thing I read, but I would only assume it was his student. Because we're not led on to believe it's anyone else.
Yeah. Interesting.
But Spielberg decided to cut it because he didn't want that character feeling like a playboy.
That was smart, because he would have. It would have changed the tone of his character.
Changed the tone of his character. It wouldn't have had that character age as well throughout the years.
Yeah. The character's such a, like, idol? Or like a, what's the word I'm looking for? A hero? This character is a role model.
He's definitely put on a pedestal kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of people that want to embrace their Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
There is a word I think that would fit this, and I can't think of it either.
Yeah, no, I'm with Spielberg. I'm glad that scene wasn't in there. I also think it's just taking away from that character in a different way. I don't know if it's necessarily like a bad thing, but it is gonna change his whole tone from that one scene.
I think it would make it more superficial.
Yeah.
With that scene taken out, it seems deeper. He seems more invested in things.
Yeah, like he has more sincerity.
He's not one to be tripped up by a pretty face. Like, he wants more than that. His passion is understanding things, learning things, teaching, and bonding on a deeper level. That's why we only really see him with his old flame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He likes more than just the surface.
Yeah.
With it, it's kind of like all ladies want him, and he's happy to satisfy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No wonder she's mad at him.
Yeah.
Are we doing the next Indiana Jones next?
Probably.
Okay.
Unless you want to do something else and just kind of break it up.
No, I think doing them 3 at a time or 4 at a time. However many, I don't know. I think doing them all at once is good.
Yeah. Well, there's 4, but there was 3 originally. The 4th came out in like the 2000s. So, but the 3 originally came out in the 80s.
Okay.
Maybe the early 90s. It's shorter than I remembered it.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be like 3 hours. I honestly was surprised. Okay, I was surprised how short it was. But while I was watching it, I'm like, this is so long. Like, I felt like I sat through a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was short, but it felt long.
I think a lot of it's just because movies back then were also shot where they explained too much. They would show like, you know, the journey over and the door and this and that and a bunch of minute things that you don't care about nowadays that just get thrown out because it's like we all know that they have to walk through a door. But
I guess I don't have a lot of experience seeing that because I just don't watch movies. So
yeah.
especially old movies.
Yeah, watching old movies is rough.
So I don't have any like, I don't know. I don't have a sense of like, oh yeah, this is what happens or anything.
Reference, like a
I'm
frame of
referencing
reference.
movies that I've seen now.
But I think that's the point of
Yeah.
this show.
No, I agree.
Is to get your view of this, which is like a fairly new, recent point of view who hasn't seen these classic movies, but get like a modern take of it and see how they hold up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's easy for me to be like, oh yeah, that's such a classic movie. It still holds up. But I'm looking through it like through, you know, child glasses, you know.
Yeah.
It's totally different. It's like when people watch Avatar and they're like, oh, it's still such a good movie. But when we saw it, we didn't see it in IMAX. It's like, what are you talking about? Did we watch the same movie? It wasn't entertaining. It wasn't even visually stimulating. It was like, it was okay.
Yeah. And it's envious that you have such like fond memories and then it was so good and that you can still look at it and it be good. And then for me, it's like all the hype of everybody, not just you, but like everybody being like, these are great movies. And then I'm like, okay.
Well, it's like, I can't even remember when I first saw it. I remember waiting for the ride far more than I remember watching these movies for the first time. I might have actually watched them for the first time after riding the ride. When the ride came out in Disneyland, I was a little kid. I wasn't tall enough for the ride. In order to make me tall enough for the first week of the ride, Mom and Dad got me these brand new pair of shoes that had a big platform in them, and they made sure to get a size bigger than I had actually fit into. So that way they could stuff balls of newspaper inside the shoes to make me that much taller to where I could just hit the little snake head or whatever.
It's brilliant. So smart of them.
Right. Like, they wanted to ride it just as bad as I did, to where they got me new shoes and then had me walk that whole distance.
Ah, that's so far. I cannot, like, I could, like, walking that distance in, like, flip-flops, I'm like, ugh, that hurts my feet just thinking about it. But having to walk that distance with newspaper in my shoe.
And little newspaper balls. So, like, I remember that night.
They couldn't do it in the bathroom or something.
I honestly don't remember taking them out afterwards.
Oh, I spent all day. Oh, it's miserable.
I don't remember it being miserable, but I do remember the line really well. Because that line was so big.
It's a great line, a great cue.
Yeah, but now when you go through that queue, they have breakpoints. They bunch everyone up in certain areas, and then they send them through. Not when they first opened it. When they first opened it, there wasn't those little checkpoint like bunch up areas. They just had everyone standing in there. So you'd be standing where the spikes come down on your head for like 30 minutes. It was a long time. The mount, like in the spike room, I haven't seen it in a while because it doesn't work. I don't think anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore when you like pull that bamboo.
Yeah, there's like a bamboo little thing.
Wobbly trigger.
Yeah, there's like a bamboo stalk that if you move it around, the room starts to shrink and spikes come down and everything.
Not all the way. It does not crush
It
guests.
only goes like 8 inches or something like that, if that, probably less. But I heard that thing before I even saw it. And then when I see it, I'm like in the next room over and I could see the spikes coming down. I saw that so many times before I'm in there. So when I'm in the room and everyone, I did it, is going by this bamboo stock and we're all jiggling it as quickly as possible to see the spikes come down. The like excitement of like, you know, when you first get in there and see it coming down. I didn't have that because I heard it. And then when I see it, I'm like, oh, that's what that noise was.
Oh, man. That's funny.
And then it's just everything about that cue, you know, when you pull on that rope and the people are like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
All of that is just imagine every single person doing it constantly.
Well, they still do.
But when you,
But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's
I
like,
can imagine it being more like,
well, yeah, I remember the first time I saw the ceiling come down.
you were probably in the room.
I was in the room. Well, and like you said, they like bunched us up and then let us go. And then the people we were with jiggled it before I got there. And then like I just got in and then I could hear it and see the spikes coming out and it scared me.
Right.
It's very scary.
And then you see the like tiles on the floor.
And
the
like, sign that's like, don't step on the eye.
And you're like constantly like avoiding them and stuff. Well, there were so many people you couldn't tell where your feet was when I was in there.
Can see the eyes.
So like I really got to appreciate it later on because there was just so many people that first night that I was just like,
Yeah.
But I do remember sitting like in the front row and I was like, I want to drive. And then Dad was like, no. And I was so angry.
I always thought you had to drive. Like
so did I.
I thought the steering wheel worked. And so I never, ever wanted to sit in the driver's seat because I was like, I can't drive. I don't know how to drive. So I never sat in the front seat for so long because I'm like, I don't know. I don't want this too much pressure.
Exact opposite with me. I wanted to be in the driver's seat every single time and nobody would let me in it. And by the time I got it, I was like, wait a second. This doesn't move? What the heck have I been wanting this whole time? I was so upset.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I think maybe riding that ride was the reason I actually watched the movies.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember them before then. And I don't think I was very old. I think I was like 6 or 7 or something when the ride came out.
Yeah.
But I wasn't tall enough for it, that's for
Definitely
sure.
not, yeah. Well, and I wasn't born yet.
Yeah, you were.
So... or maybe somebody just left me somewhere.
You know what? It might have been just before you were born. I might have been, if that's the case, I must have been like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because you were born when I was 7 or something like
7 and change.
Yeah, because I don't remember you being there. I remember you being around very close after that because then another ride came in and Mom couldn't go on it because she was holding you. Yeah.
There was one time. It was my birthday. And it was when Disney was doing that Land of a Million Dreams thing. I don't know if it was like a theme or a sweepstakes, whatever. And when you got off the ride of Indiana Jones and you're like walking out, they were like handing everybody lanyards that had 2 pins on it. And
there was a medal as well on it.
And there was a medal. And it was the coolest thing ever. But Mom didn't go on it for some reason. I don't remember why. But she didn't go on it. And I remember I had a friend with me. And then I think you guys were there too.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there? Oh.
I was at NBA.
Okay. So it was like me and my friend and I think Dad.
Yeah.
And then Mom didn't go on for some reason. And Mom was so angry.
Because you and Dad got these medals.
We got these really cool like lanyards and free pins and everything. Yeah. And she didn't get one.
Everything she's about. And she
she had like been wanting something from this giveaway Disney was doing because they would like give people like trips and like they'd walk up to you. They'd have like secret people that would walk up to you and give you free things secretly and stuff. So she wanted something like so bad. And then we got something and she was so upset. I felt so bad.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Which I think Dad gave her his, but
Well,
still.
those two things were just sitting around. Like, I remember I think they ended up in my room at one point where they just got thrown around literally for a while.
Well, I remember mine. That's when I started pin collecting. Is when I got that.
Yeah.
And so I filled mine
Well,
with.
now you had a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So I filled mine with pins throughout, and then I stopped after a while. But yeah, it was cool.
It was cool. I remember you guys telling me about it when I came back home.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what?
Yeah. It was special. It was very spectacular. So I have fond memories of that ride.
Yeah.
For numerous reasons.
Still a great ride, too.
I love that ride. My favorite is when you sit in the back row. And it like whips you around a little more. And then if you lift your feet up off the floor, then put your hands in the air, you really get going.
You really jiggle around.
Really like whips you around. I'm like, oh. It's very fun.
It's good.
Yeah. I was on it once when it broke down. And it broke down.
Did you get to walk out?
No. I think it was on my senior trip. I was with Maria. Shout out to Maria. It like broke down right at the end, like before you turn the corner to like split.
Yeah.
To go to the different sides.
The three different choices.
Yeah. And it broke down right before there, and we just like sat there for like 10 minutes in the dark.
Did you look at the mirrors like, what are they doing back there?
Well, and then some guy like came out of a door that you didn't know was there, and there's like a stairwell, and he was like, remain seated, and then like all the lights came on, and to the left was like a vacuum cleaner and like a fan, like
that's awesome.
Like it was like a storage corner. Like they didn't hide anything, but it was normally dark.
Yeah.
But they just like threw random stuff in this dark spot.
That's great.
And it was so surprising to me to see like that stuff right there. It was magical, honestly, seeing what was behind the darkness. And then they let us go again. So it was great.
I wanna go to the new Star Wars land.
Yeah. I do too. I want to experience that new land.
Yeah.
A new land is so special. It's like just so much land, so much area.
So much land.
So much area that was unused, and they're like, there's no more room. We're full. We've done everything. And then they're like, all right, we found some more.
And then they made more paths.
Yeah, so we can connect our loop that we used to walk.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to turn around. We could just keep walking. What a dream. Someday. When there's a vaccine for COVID-19.
CORONAVIRUS, coronavirus.
Donald Trump.
Tune in next week when we probably go over Indiana Jones. I think it is, it's the Temple of Doom.
My money's on The Last Crusade. No. I think the next one is The Quest for the Holy Grail.
You're not far off. If it's not, watch the next one.
Watch them all.
Yeah. All right.
Bye.